This is going to be a very brief supplemental video. I was looking at the Institute manual on Ruth and the strange manner of proposal, and I thought this was interesting. I did mention I would read this, and so I want to read this, but I'm also going to read a brief section about how the arrangement was made legally binding. So first, we have this. This is on page 263 in the Institute manual. Says, regarding Ruth chapter 3, verses 6 through 9, how did Ruth make her proposal to Boaz? You remember that she snuck in, laid down at his feet, and when he woke up, she proposed marriage. So this is what he says here. When Boaz awoke from his sleep by the pile of grain, which he was guarding, as was the custom during harvest time, he was startled by Ruth's presence. She was direct in her proposal. The word rendered skirt also means wing, and her request is not unlike our idiom, take me under your wing. Gesenius, the famous Hebraist, says it was a proper proposal of marriage, even though the girl was doing the proposing. The idiom means protect me, or in other words, be my protector or husband. According to our customs, indeed, this act of Naomi and Ruth appears a very objectionable one from a moral point of view. But it was not so when judged by the customs of the people of Israel at that time. Boaz, who was an honorable man, and according to Ruth chapter 3, verse 10, no doubt somewhat advanced in years, praised Ruth for having taken refuge with him, and promised to fulfill her wishes when he had satisfied himself that the nearer Redeemer would renounce his right and duty. As he acknowledged by this very declaration that under certain circumstances it would be his duty as Redeemer to marry Ruth, he took no offense at the manner in which she had approached him and proposed to become his wife. On the contrary, he regarded it as a proof of feminine virtue and modesty that she had not gone after young men, but offered herself as a wife to an old man like him. Oh, sorry. This conduct on the part of Boaz is a sufficient proof that women might have confidence in him that he would do nothing unseemly, and he justified such confidence. Now, I do want to say that I think the whole sneaking in and uncovering his feet and laying down, I think that even back in ancient Israel would have been somewhat improper, because he does say, don't let them know you are here. He has her leave when it is still dark. Now, the proposal itself was very proper, and his response to it was very proper. But I think the clandestine nature of it was probably not quite in line with Israel's traditions at the time. But why she uncovered his feet, I am not positive, and this doesn't really shed any light on that. But I do like the description of both of them. And I will say, they call him the Redeemer, or nearer Redeemer, because the term that is translated from the Hebrew as kinsman in this case is more often translated as Redeemer, because it goes back to you had the right of redemption. You had the right to redeem your family's property or marry your brother's wife, the levirate marriage. And so it is also the root word for Jesus Christ as the Redeemer of the world. And that is why here they call him the Redeemer instead of the kinsman, because that is what the term actually means, is Redeemer. And now let us look at this last paragraph here. This is the next section here, Ruth chapter 4, verses 7 through 12. It says here, question, how was a public agreement made legally binding? Here we go. The public life of an Israelite village was concentrated at its main gate. It was here that matters of law were brought for adjudication before the elders of the community. They also were the official witnesses for transactions, such as the one in which Boaz agreed to marry Ruth if her kinsman would give up all rights to her dead husband's property. A man renouncing property rights removed a sandal and presented it to the new property holder, a gesture that everyone understood and considered binding if witnessed by the elders. So that is what it says. It doesn't give us a lot of clarifying, but it does. It's an interesting way of looking at it. So it is true that they didn't sign a contract. They made a verbal agreement before witnesses, and the guy handed over his shoe. And that was legally binding under the law of Moses, under the traditions of Israel. It's the law of the witnesses. You don't need a written contract as long as you have legal, verifiable witnesses to a verbal agreement. But I'm going to leave that one here. Nice brief one, and I will see you in my next video.